What's going on, Niner fam? It is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic Podcast, and we're back here on Thursday. We are a week away from the draft. I hope you guys out there feel the same amount of excitement that I'm feeling. It's, I mean, for lack of a better term, it is like Christmas. It's Christmas Eve, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ayuk. We're going to talk about the constant misinformation that's going out everywhere. We're also going to talk about who's visiting the 49ers and who's possibly actually going to get drafted by the 49ers. Before we do that, we got to hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'd like to know,
are you ready for start time?
And once again, it is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic Podcast, and I appreciate everybody coming out to watch the video. Make sure you give it a like. Make sure that you give it a subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when I go live. And yeah, like I said, it's another Thursday night. We are exactly a week away from draft day in the NFL, at least from the first round. And for once, the 49ers have a first round pick. So it's time to get excited. It's time to get excited because we're going to get a first round talent. Hopefully they don't trade out of the first round. And we're going to have a first round talent on this squad for the first time in like 3 years. So with that being said, yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around today in Twitter. I think people are just bored at this point. People are just making up stuff just to keep the news cycle going. It's typical NFL offseason. I don't know why I know why they pick on the 49er fans. It's because we react. We react. We get tired of the constant talk about our team and talking that every offseason we have to endure the trade rumors for whoever it is that we're supposed to pay this offseason. We have to endure it every single offseason. So people should be used to it by now, you would think, but they're not. They fall for it every single year. And this year it was I saw I think his name is Chase Senior, and I saw there's another guy. I'm not even gonna say his name because I don't think he deserves any clout. Like there's some tax guy out there that's trying to put out NFL rumors. And this is the thing about NFL rumors. Because guys like this will throw stuff out there and they'll just keep throwing stuff out there. And it's going to be wrong most of the time, but then there's going to be one time. There's going to be one time when they throw it out there and it's going to stick and they're going to all of a sudden be considered credible. Well, I would like to say that, and I think Chase Senior is better than this. I don't think that he is usually a hot take artist. He's not usually the hot take guy. He does the work. He's out there. He was out there at the combine interviewing people, and so I give the man his credit because he does the work. I think he's gone down the wrong road in my opinion on this one. I think that my personal opinion on it is I think that the Brandon Ayuk is going to be a 49er. Now that's my opinion. Could it happen the other way? Anything can happen. It's the NFL. If a team offered the 49ers a first round pick and not a pick swap, but a first round pick and maybe something else, maybe another pick next year, I could maybe see it. But I don't think anybody's going to do that. I just don't. And that was the other rumor. The Steelers out there. There's rumors about the Steelers. There's rumors to the Ravens. There's rumors to First off, the Ravens don't have a high enough pick for that to even be anywhere near credible. The Jags, maybe. Maybe that's a possibility. They would have to give up that pick plus something else though, and then you've got and then it's the Steelers, which, like I said, maybe, but they'd have to give up that and something else. I don't know that they're and the rumor was a pick swap. And the 49ers are definitely it would be malpractice for the 49ers to do a pick swap for Brandon Ayuk. Like that's just silliness. And honestly, the Steelers don't have any players that the 49ers want. So I think that's a moot point, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen. What I'm saying is that I would be shocked. I think that the 49ers are smarter than me. And if I wouldn't take it, I'm pretty sure the 49ers wouldn't take it. So that's where that whole rumor mill is. But I mean, can we all just breathe? We got a week. We got a week. And if it doesn't happen by the second round, if we get to the second round next week and past the second round, if we get to the third round, I should say, and Brandon Ayuk is still on the team, I think it's safe to say that he's going to be a 49er. In my opinion, I really think that that's the case. I think it's a done deal. If anybody didn't know, Brandon Ayuk's agent was in Lynch's wedding. I learned that a couple of days ago, and uh, not that he's not going to do the best for his client. That is absolutely going to happen. But at the same time, don't think that he doesn't have a little soft spot in his heart for Lynch and what the 49ers are doing. So I just think, and I think Brandon, at the base of it all, Brandon Ayuk wants to be there. I think that the Brandon Ayuk to Purdy connection, even when he wasn't the priority, it added up to 1,300 yards. I think that, and this is, I gotta take my drink for that one. This is the thing that I hear a lot of people talk about the pieces around Purdy. People always like to talk about the players, and I don't think we talk enough about how Kyle plays in to what Purdy is going to do next year. Because I think that the biggest issue for Purdy and his growth is going to be his relationship with Kyle and how Kyle feels about how his drop back game works. Does he think that he needs to improve upon it? Does he think that he needs to give Brock a little bit more autonomy and a little bit more ownership of the offense so that he can move guys like Ayuk and guys and other guys around the formation? Can we get the guy in motion just to motion him open and get him in a favorable matchup? Because those things do not happen currently in the 49ers offense at all. At all. Since Kyle has been there is no quarterback that is motioning players around to get them on a certain matchup. Kyle doesn't care about the matchup because he's a full believer, and part of it's ego, but he is a full believer that his system, there's always an answer. Your quarterback just has to find it, because the way his plays are drawn up, there is going to be it plays against, and we've said it 100 times, it plays against the defense's the rules of their defense. So it's going to put somebody in a bind. But when you do that, teams know they're able to key in on it. The really good teams, the really good defensive teams can key on certain players. And because they know you're not going to motion them around, there's no disguising of anything. It makes it difficult. It makes it difficult as the 49ers get into the playoffs and they start playing those better teams, those better defenses. It becomes rough. And so I think for Purdy's maturation, more so than even more so than the offensive line, which I think is a natural progression of what I was just talking about. Because if you're going to give Brock more autonomy, you're going to have to give him more time. And in order to do that, they're going to have to they're going to have to beef up that offensive line and get to a point to where they can hold for 3+ seconds. And so it's it just comes down to, is Kyle willing to take that next step? And the next step for me in Brock's maturation is naturally is taking more ownership of the offense. I still want to see them run the ball. I still don't think that they should have to throw the ball as much as other teams, because they do have CMC. They do that running game is a huge thing, a part of what they do. I don't think they have to go crazy and just put the offense entirely into Brock's hands. But I think when you do put it in Brock's hands, it has to be in Brock's hands. And he has to be able to learn those things in order for him to take that next step, in my opinion. I don't know. If anybody wants to chime in on that in the chat, I appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure, hey, just so you know, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. Now we are on Twitch. Make sure that you just look it up, Niner Fanatic Podcast, on any of those platforms. I'm also anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. So there is no excuse. Go out there and I don't care how you get it, just get it. So, but with that, so we talked about the IU. We talked about the natural maturation of Purdy and what people might see next season. I'm excited. I truly am excited to see what's next for Brock Purdy. I do think he's going to take a step forward, because having a full season, a full off season with his guys, with Kyle in the system, and getting a chance to fully get ready for a season, and all the strength training and getting his body ready. I think that is going to be huge for him. But I want to talk about today, and the name of this show was 30 or Bust, right? So, and that title was referring to all the top 30 visits. And I wanted to go over the top 30 visits that, thank God for Steph. Can we all say thank God for Steph Sanchez? Because she does such an awesome job of compiling all the visits. Her graph it takes so much work to put this together. And it tells you, injury off field issues for each player. It has the date and time of the that they met with the person, the draft grade of the person, of the candidate, all of it. And yeah, I love it. But it looks like the 49ers have met with about 21 people so far. I don't know if they met with another person today. I want to check her graph and see what you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Still 21 as we know it right now. There's a lot of people on this. So, and while we know that the 49ers are going to pick somebody that they did not have a top 30 visit with, that we know of, you can see a direct correlation to them having these visits with these guys and who they pick in the draft. And I remember, big up to Locked On, but I remember them talking about the one exception to the rule was Mike McGlinchey, and they don't know if they actually met with him, but they kept it really hush hush if they did, and they just picked him. They didn't want anybody to know that they were picking him. So, but let's go over some of these names of these top 30 guys, and the first one on the list is Bub Means out of Pittsburgh, wide receiver. He's got a 6th, 7th round grade on him. So, we're talking about the end of the draft, but I've mocked this guy to the 49ers a few times just because I feel he is a guy they could go for 6th, 7th. He could be like a returner, punt returner, or even though they did re-sign Trent Taylor, I don't expect Trent Taylor to make this team. If he does make the team, then something very wrong happened in this offseason, because I don't think Trent Taylor has much to offer the 49ers. He was there back in the day when there was the cupboard was bare, but yeah, I cannot picture him being on this roster week 1. I would be shocked. But Bub Means, very athletic, and could refine some things of his game to be a true wide receiver. But I mean, he would have to be. I definitely don't see him as a slot. He would have to be like a Z. But yeah, like he would be more of a returner and special teams guy. So, but they had a top 30 visit with him, and they met informally with him at the combine. So he is on the radar. And then you've got Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. He's listed as an offensive tackle. I think he could be an offensive tackle. The arm length is there, hand size is there, but he could do either tackle or guard, and I think he could be serviceable. And he's got a 3rd-round grade on him. That's a guy that if they miss out on the first round, that there's just a run on tackles in the first round, and they don't see the guy that they really want to, they could wait until that late second, maybe either trade down or trade up from their 3rd-round pick and go out and get Blake Fisher. And we're gonna do a mock draft later on in the show, so and we're gonna get a chance to see where some of these guys lie, but. But yeah, so then we've got Chris Braswell, edge out of Alabama, another top 30 visit, graded out at a 2nd or 3rd-round pick. I mean, this guy, I really like him as an edge, and I could see them taking him in the 2nd round if he's still there. I think that he might. This is a if he falls type of scenario that I could see them picking him, because I think he'd be an excellent depth piece. He's the type of edge that the 49ers like, the kind of that bigger edge, but he does have the athleticism to him, and really like him. Javon Bullard, who was a guy that I was mocking out of Georgia. He's a safety, but he could be a nickel as well. And 2nd, 3rd-round grade, top 30 visit. And this is a guy that I was mocking to the 49ers early on in like February, because I felt like the 49ers could be looking for a safety to play that center field position. I don't know that Bullard is that type. I don't know that he has the speed to get sideline to sideline and be that true center fielder. I'm not sure that he has that in him. I think he's more of a smaller version of Jair Brown and Hufanga. So yeah, I don't see Bullard being taken by the 49ers, especially in the 2nd and 3rd round. If he fell out of there and like somehow fell to the 4th, I could see them maybe. But who knows with the 49ers, because they take guys all over the place. It doesn't matter to them as long as they get their guys. So they don't really pay attention a lot to draft positioning. But then you got Jacob Cowing, who visited the 49ers, I think, today. And he was one of the ones that visited today out of Arizona, wide receiver, smaller slot guy, would help the return. Another guy to help the return game. He's kind of small, I would say. And he's got a 4th-round grade on him. I think that they're looking at this just, in case they miss out on one of on the guys that they have kind of pegged in that 2nd, 3rd round area, that Cowing could be a guy that they look to in the 4th. I could see it. But I think he's kind of small, in my opinion. I know people get all enamored by some of these small guys, and because they've got the quick twitch and they've got the speed, and that kind of stuff. But quite frequently, those guys don't end up making it through a whole season. I mean, it's just the truth. Like, you can go down the list, but there's not many of them that make it through a whole season. And I'm sorry if that poo poos on your dream for Jacob Cowing or a couple of the other guys that I'm going to talk about. But I mean, it is what it is. Okay, now they got Kalen Bullock is the next guy, safety out of USC, and this guy had his top 30 visit the other day, and they met with him at the combine. Third, fourth round, between third and fourth round grade. This is a guy that could play center field. He's kind of lighter, but he's got the size, he's got the height, and I really feel like he could fill out his frame and get to that 200 pound mark. But I think that he's got all the measurables, and he has really good instincts, in my opinion. I really like him, so I could totally see them picking this guy at 94 if they still have their pick at 94. I really like Kalen Bullock, and I think that he could be a guy in one of those three safety looks that are all the rage in the NFL now. The 49ers need a guy that can play center field. Jair Brown, I love him to death. Love Hufanga. The 49ers don't have with Deshaun Gibson not being here, they don't have a true center fielder anymore. So, and there's a couple other safeties out there in free agency. I would like to see them just go young, a guy that they just rotate in and out, a guy that's talented that could grow into the position. 49ers don't usually like to do that. They don't usually like to trust in rookies. So it would not surprise me at all if they just went out and got somebody in free agency. But Kalen Bullock would be a nice option, I believe. And then we move on to Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU, offensive tackle. This is my guy. This is my first round pick. Personally, this is who I've wanted, and I've been talking about him for weeks now. If you've watched my show at all, you will know that I've been mocking this guy to the 49ers for a minute. I think that he's been floating anywhere between that 30 between 30 and all the way down to 60. So I think that he's going to be there. I think that he's going to be there for the 49ers. And I think that you cannot go wrong with this pick. I think that he is definitely a plug and play right tackle, and he could eventually replace Trent and just give him some time to get some reps and to get that playing experience. But I think he could beat out McKivitz today. I think he's way more talented, way more athletic, and I just think he's a better player, just point blank. And I think that would really do a lot to solidify the right side of that line. Now that you've got John Feliciano in the fold, which honestly I wasn't a big fan of bringing him back. I know a lot of people really like him. I don't know. I just don't like. I didn't like the stuff after that he did after the season was over. But I'm not going to dwell on it. It is what it is. I just covered the team. So for the 49ers brought him back. It is what it is. It is what it is. He is a very good right guard. So with him and then Suamataia over there, now the 49ers don't have to run it to the left every time. Now you don't know which way they're going. And I think that Suamataia has a little bit of beast in him. And he's little bit of a mauler, and that is it's going to be perfect. It would be perfect. But I don't want to talk too long about Suamataia. We're going to talk some more when I do the mock draft in a little bit. But the next guy is Tatum Bethune out of Florida State, linebacker. He's slated to go 7th round or maybe not even drafted, but he got a top 30 visit. So this is a guy that I think they're bringing in, and that's honestly where I see them taking a linebacker. I don't see them taking a linebacker. I know that I was mocking Cedric Gray to them early on, but the more and more I think about it, I just don't think the 49ers are going to take a linebacker that early. They've got so much depth at that position, whether people want to admit it or not. Like, they've got so much depth at that position, including the 2 second-year guys that they've got that they're really high on, both of them. So I'd be shocked if they spent a higher pick on a linebacker. But either way, they brought him in for a visit. So you could see him get be a camp body as a free agent maybe. But then the next guy is Eric All, tight end out of Iowa, slated to go in the 5th or 6th round, and he's a guy that is a blocking tight end that we know of, because that's what we thought George Kittle was as well. But once again, out of Iowa. And that's what we thought. Like, now, Eric Hall is nowhere near Kittle's athleticism. Nowhere near. But he does have upside as far as his size. He does have upside in the fact that he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity to catch the ball at Iowa. So, which was the same knock on Kittle, which is why he kind of slipped to the 5th round. And I could see the same thing happen to Eric Hall. I don't think he's going to be as good as Kittle, but I think that he is definitely a solid blocking tight end, and maybe more down the road. But for right now, he'd be a solid blocking tight end for sure. So he'd definitely be a good special teamer as well, I think. Then the next guy, DeCameron Richardson, out of Mississippi State, cornerback, but I think he'd be more of a safety. Kind of really small for a safety. Slated to go in the 4th or 5th round, and really nice player in college. I just think he's too small. And he's like 5'9". I think he's too small to be a safety. I don't think that he's got – it would be the same thing as Womack's issues in the slot is. I don't know that he'd be good in the run fits. But they met with him. So if he falls to that 5th or 6th round spot, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, because he is athletic. He's real twitchy and good instincts. So they like their players like that. And Michael Hall is the next guy, a defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Slated to go in 2nd or 3rd round. This is a guy I'm not high on. I am not high on him at all. And I'm hoping that the 49ers just met with him and it's kind of a smokescreen thing. I'm not a fan. I don't think he's really necessarily good against the run. I think he doesn't really have much of a pass rush skill set either. Yeah, I don't really know. I think they're just picking that people are going to end up picking him just off of potential and not really what he puts on film, because he really hasn't put much on film. I'll be honest. But the measurables are there. And so it would be complete projection. But he's slated to go in the 2nd or 3rd round. But that's what happens when you got the measurables. The next guy is Evan Anderson, defensive tackle out of Florida Atlantic. He's slated to be a undrafted free agent. So we're not going to really talk too much about that guy. But next guy, Caden Wallace, offensive tackle out of Penn State, really going to be a guard. He's slated to go in the 4th. I think he's going to end up slipping to the 5th. But he's another guy that's going to end up being a guard. He's probably going to end up being a guard. He could be a tackle. He's got the positional. What's the word for it? Versatility to end up to play both in a pinch. But I think he's a guy that needs to develop, and he has the measurables. So I could see taking him in the 4th or 5th, 6th, like another depth piece. But yeah, I liked him. I liked him as that in the later rounds. So next guy, Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky. He just came in for his visit a little bit ago. I think it was it yesterday? I want to say it was yesterday. And he's slated to go in 2nd and 3rd round, cornerback, and he is a nickel. He is a nickel all the way, and there is no doubt about it. He would be depth for behind Demo Lenore, and that's really what he would be. But he's feisty. I don't know that he has the long speed, but he's feisty. He's going to fight for it. He's really good in press. I do like him. I do like him. I think that he'd be good as a backup nickel until he learns his way and gets his feet wet in the league. I could see him transitioning later on down the road. But I think that Demo is going to get re-signed. I really believe he is. So, but I think that it gives the 49ers something to play with and some position. So if they need to get Demo out of there, they have another guy that can step in. Because right now they have no other nickels on the squad. I mean, if you want to consider Womack a nickel, but I don't think the 49ers do. They just we haven't seen him in the nickel since his rookie year. So I just think that the 49ers don't have one. And but all right, next guy, Javon Baker, my guy, another one of my guys, and he is a wide receiver out of UCF. Top 30 visits, slated to go in the fourth round. I think he's going to end up going in the third. They're going to have to move up to get him. I think he's got a ton of juice moving up these draft boards. I think that while he's not a speed demon, he's very twitchy. He knows how to get open. Tough guy, is ready and willing to block. He is a shanty guy through and through. And this is an opportunity for the 49ers to go and get what people expected Ronnie Bell to be. And I just really like him. And if you're going to when we're thinking about next season, after this one, and we're all thinking that Debo's days are numbered as a 49er. I would be shocked if he was still here, but if he is not still here next season, I could see Javon Baker stepping up into that role. And all of a sudden now we don't with Purdy at quarterback, it would be nice to have just guys on both sides that can just route a corner up, because I think he has that type of ability. I think he's really good at running his routes. I think that really good at the top of routes. And I just think that he's going to be one of those players. And even if he doesn't get drafted by the 49ers, he's one of those guys I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch him grow on I guess on another team. If that doesn't happen, hopefully not. I'm hoping he's a 49er. But then you've got I want to say what's going on to the chat. Oh, my guy Beto in the house. Appreciate you coming through, fam. Somebody's got to come through. Hey, buddy. McNiner, appreciate you coming through, fam, as well. Always make sure that you give my guys Beto, Niner Sickness Pod, and Dave McNiner with his buddy Bryant Culp. Make sure that you guys go give them a follow. Make sure that you give them a subscribe on their channels as well. Good content. And Roberto Hastings, appreciate you coming through, fam. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you coming through. But now we are moving on to Brandon Dorless, defensive line. He's one of those tweeners, and he's not really big enough to be a defensive tackle. But in a NASCAR package, you could kick him inside. But he's a guy that he's slated to go in the third round. I'm not a fan. I know I see a lot of people on Twitter that like this guy. I'm not a fan. I just don't. I see a tweener, and not that Chris Kasurik can't get the most out of those types of guys, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. I see Solomon Thomas all over him. It just reeks of Solomon Thomas, and I just think I don't know. I think there's going to be other people to prioritize at the third round spot. Then you've got Trayvon Wallace, linebacker out of Kentucky. He's slated to go in the third round. I'm surprised they're looking at third round linebackers. I'll be honest. Now, they could be smokescreen. Because I don't plan on them picking a linebacker in the third round. But then you got Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, slated to go in the second and third round. Wide receiver, everybody's favorite Debo clone. At least that's what they're calling him. And every season there's got to be a guy that they compare to Debo, because Debo is such a unique type of player. They've got to find, and really, Malachi Corley is not Debo. What he is his team used him like Debo, but I actually think Malachi Corley has an opportunity to be a much better receiver than Debo. I'll be honest. I like Debo, but Debo is not the greatest route runner. Debo is not the best hands guy. And Debo is not the he's not the most engaged guy if he's not getting the ball. Let's say that. And I think Malachi Corley has an opportunity to be a really good player. Not that saying that he's better than Tebow by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that he's versatile and he can do a lot of different things. And I think that he would be a perfect Swiss Army knife for a team because he's used to doing all those things. Next guy, Show Smith Wade out of Washington State, slated to go in the 6th round. He's a corner. Once again, this guy is going to be a nickel at best. He's kind of small arms, small hands. He's going to be a nickel. I like him though. Scrappy, short area quickness, and I don't know about his long speed, but I think as a nickel, he'd be solid. He'd be solid. Marshawn Nealon, edge out of Western Michigan. This guy is just climbing boards, and they have him slated as either a 1st or 2nd rounder. He is just shot up, like at least as a smokescreen. I don't know if anybody's really going to pick him in the 1st round, but I mean, the 49ers had been, a lot of people have been mocking him as their 2nd round pick at 63. I don't think he's going to be there at 63. I'll be honest with you. If the 49ers really, really, really want him, they're going to probably have to go up to into the 50s, at least, if not into the bottom of the 40s. If you really, really want him, that's what's probably going to have to happen, which means I don't know if he's going to end up on the 49ers because I don't see them trading up that much to go get him. I think that they're pretty set at defensive line. And I know that a lot of people still think that they could use some more juice on the defensive line. If they're getting to 2nd rounders, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough to unseat the guys that they've already got there. And like I could see them getting a defensive tackle to eventually be that starter next to Javon Hargrave. But they've got some guys already that they went out and got. So they would have to be whoever they pick has to be better than those guys out the box. And I don't know that Marshawn Nealon would be better than those guys out of the box at defensive end. So, I mean, Gross Matos and Leonard Floyd, I just feel like they're gonna be two veteran pieces that are just gonna be too good, like right now for Marshawn Nealon to get a bunch of snaps. I just don't think that that's gonna happen. So, I mean, it is what it is. He'll probably get. I just don't see them going out and getting him. I know everybody thinks, oh, well, we're just going to pick a defensive end. That's what they do. But I'm just looking at the depth chart and what the depth chart tells me. And this is a team that needs to win now. And they're not, I don't think, while they are looking for the future, they signed Leonard Floyd to a 2-year deal. Gross Matos, believe, is a 2-year deal as well. And they don't necessarily need to replace them this year. So I would be shocked. If that was the case. Now, granted, you can always say, hey, those 2 years are really 1-year deals. But I don't know. I just don't think that they do it because the depth on this team, I think, is pretty good right now at defensive line. I fully expect them to pick a defensive lineman. I just don't know that they pick him this high. I think they might get a developmental guy in later rounds, just somebody athletic that they might turn into something. But we'll see. Oh, Beto, you so nice to me. I appreciate you coming through. So then we've got Sion Vaki, safety out of Utah. He's kind of a tweener. Like he's more of a Jair Brown and Hafanga type, but he can also play running back. So that's what gives him a little bit of versatility. I could see him as a special teamer. That's a guy that I could see them bringing in. Like I said, as a special teamer. He's slated to go in the 6th round. Yeah, I could see that. And then did we get through all of them? We got through all of them. Those are all the top 30 guys. So we went over all the top 30 guys. Now there's some names in there that we didn't hear, which I'm kind of surprised that we didn't hear. Uh, Notice that there was only one tight end. There was only one tight end that you heard in those top 30 visits. Notice that there was a couple of edges, a lot of cornerbacks, safeties, only a couple of offensive linemen, but they spread it out pretty good. And there's still 9. It's out of their top 30. Like they still got 9 more top 30 visits that I tweeted at Steph Sanchez that there was 9 left, and she says we're probably not going to hear about the rest of them. So I'm hoping that we're about to get into this mock draft, but I'm hoping that some of the guys that I pick in my mocks are some of the guys that they're going to end up talking to. But we shall see. And I messed up. So we're going to bring up this mock draft, and we're going to try and get through one right quick. Let's look at it. Oh, there it goes. So we're going to use the PFN mock draft machine. I think it's the most steady. And the thing that we always need to remember about mock drafts and about all these different mock draft machines, you got Draft Database, you got NFL Draft Buzz, you've got this one, you've even got the ESPN. ESPN has one. And what I like about the ESPN one is they don't really give grades. What they tell you is after the draft is over, they'll let you know that you picked a guy that in a bunch of it they track all of the mock draft all the mock drafts, and they'll tell you, hey, in this guy usually there's this percentage of a chance that he was picked uh, by the time you picked him, and then there was another certain percentage of a time that the guy would have been there after you picked him, which I think is a great way to gauge how you're if you picked a guy too early, too late, and if you just were reaching a little bit for a player. So I really like the ESPNs, and I think next week I'm going to try and twist Beto and Brandon's arm to use the ESPN one, just so we can get just so we're not as quirky about the next the grades necessarily, because I don't think the teams are really caring about the draft grades. They're just trying to bring guys that fit their system and fit their team. So, but we're going to use the PFN mock draft simulator today, and I already set it up. Yep. So, oh, here we go. All right. So we are going to pay attention to the guys that are falling off this board. And honestly, I'm going to put it on offensive tackles, and I'm just going to watch. Jared Verse going off the board. Dallas Turner. Wow. Joe Alt just went at number 12. I highly doubt that. But Amarius Mims went before Fuaga and Fatanu. So I might be pausing this draft in a minute and see if I can't trade up. JC Latham. There he goes. I'm going to pause it. Okay. We got Fatanu, Tyler Guyton, Kingsley still here. I wonder, can I get the Bengals pick at 20? It's kind of high. But what if I give him 31, 94, and I'm gonna offer him a second next year and see if that is enough. It's probably not gonna be enough. Oh, they took it. Okay. So we're sitting here at 20. I think you all know where I'm going with this. It is Troy Fatanu season. And the Raiders are offering me a bunch of stuff, but like it doesn't equate. None of it equates to my to a tackle that could be there for the foreseeable future. And he is not just going to be your right tackle. He is absolutely going to be the replacement for Trent Williams after he eventually retires. And I mean, if you're sleeping under a rock, Trent Williams is getting up there. So we are absolutely taking Troy Fatanu here. And the 49ers have 11 picks. Am I planning on them using all 11 picks? Probably not. But I will. So this draft is going to go a little wonky. Jackson Powers Johnson goes off the board. A.D. Mitchell goes to Cowboys. Ugh, that sucks. Of course, Darius Robinson goes to the Ravens. I mean, makes sense. He looks like a Raven. Kansas City picking Graham Barton is kind of weird, I think. I like that the Arizona picked Jordan Morgan because I don't think he's going to be much. Christian Haynes goes to Washington. Kingsley's off the board now to Green Bay. But you see, Kingsley slid all the way down to 41. I would take him at 31. I'll be honest. If he was still sitting there at 31, I would have taken him. Feel free to get busy in the chat and give me some guys that you guys want to see me pick. See what it would take to get to them. Let's pause right here. So 53. Let's see who we got on the board. We got Patrick Paul. Not looking for a tackle now for sure. Roger Rosengarten. He could be a guard, but honestly, I'm not really looking for guard tackle. I'm not really looking for a guard tackle type. I'm looking for a guard center type at this point. If I'm going to go for another offensive lineman, so you got Blake Fisher here. It kind of wipes a lot of these guys on Javon. Oh, okay, that's why I'm not looking at the all anymore. Okay, so let's go all the way back. Okay, now it looks better. So you got Zach Frazier still sitting there. That's tempting to trade up and go get him. But you've got Chris Jenkins still sitting there. Rukaroro's still sitting there. We're about 10 picks away from our pick. All of these guys are not going to. Marshawn Nealon's still sitting there. They got him. They got him listed at 73 overall. So I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way down to 63 on this one. They can take whoever. Xavier Legette goes to the Patriots. Interesting pick. Braylon Trice. Junior Colson. That's a weird pick, too. So now they are offering me I want to see if I can. I'm going to counter this. Let me see if I can give them 132 for 101. Let's see what happens. Oh, they took it. So, and I could have taken Zach Frazier there, but I don't know. There's a couple of guys. I really like Tanner Bortolini. I really like Norzad out of Penn State. So it is. I'm like, I don't really need Zach Frazier. I think that both of those guys are better fits for the 49ers than what they do. Don't like this trade at all. 70. Yeah, no, I'm not going down that far. And so now we got Chris Jenkins. Ooh, Marshawn Nealand. Roger, DJ James. I think that right here, I am going to go Chris Jenkins here. I think that he is the run stopper that the 49ers are out of Michigan. I think he's a run stopper that the 49ers need. Not that they don't have a run stopper right now. They do. They did get a guy. Hold on, let me pull him up. They did get a guy, Jordan Elliott, that I think is really good against the run. Malik Collins, really good against the run. Right? That's their name. Yeah, Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott. I think they're both really good against the run. And I think that's why they were picked. But Chris Jenkins can do a little bit of everything. And I think him getting a chance to develop in this system that'd be a nice piece for the 49ers. So now we're going to go to, we're at 71. Oh, Kalen Bullock just fell off the board. That's a guy that I would have probably gone after, but well, it is what it is. Marshawn Nealon is still sitting there. Braden Fisk just went off the board. I highly doubt he falls this far. Oh, there goes Marshawn Nealon. You know, pause this real quick because DJ James is a guy that the 49ers have met with, but I'm surprised that he's not a top 30 visit. I am really surprised that he's not a top 30 visit. You got Kieran Megaji still sitting there, but where's our centers? We got Tanner Bortolini at 116, Bo Limmer, and Hunter Norzad. I'll be honest with you. I think Hunter Norzad is the guy. And if he's going to fall all the way to 178, like I'd pick Tanner Bortolini as well. But and if he's still there at 101, I'm taking Tanner Bortolini. Let's see, where are we at? We got the Bengals. Let's see what we got. We got 101, 124, 135, and 130 and 176. Could we trade them up from 101 up to 94? I wonder if we could get from 124 up to 115 and to 115 for just for 251. Huh. Let's wait. I'm being overzealous. I'm being overzealous here. So let's keep it going. Where is my guy? They've got Theo Johnson down there at 130. Javon Baker's there at 144. Malik Washington's at 122. I am looking. Yeah, we just gonna wait it out. We're gonna wait it out. Oh, Washington traded the pick. All right, so let's look at what we got. We got Bo Braid, Will Shipley, Dwayne Carter, McKinley Jackson, got Blake Fisher. I don't know why Malik Mustafa is this high. I just don't think that he's. You got Tanner Bortolini here. My next pick is 124. I'm going Tanner Bortolini. I am going Tanner Bortolini here. We're going to go get our guy. So now we've got Troy Fatanu, Tanner Bortolini, Chris Jenkins. We are fully invested in the trenches. Fully invested. And now we can start looking at some of these kind of the skill positions in my mind and start going for some upside. That's what I would like to see the 49ers do. I want it to be all upside because whoever they're going to get is going to be, Javon Baker goes at 115. That is soul crushing. Okay, now we got to pause because offense, let's see who we got left at wide receiver. You got Jacob Cowing, Jamari Thrash, Luke McCaffrey, Aeneas Smith, Bub Means. Oof. Okay. So it is what it is. And I knew I should have traded up to go get my guy. But it is what it is. Brandon Rice is still sitting there. Jamari Thrash, I feel like he's a poor man's. Okay. Well, it is what it is. Now we just got to pick. We just got to pick best player available, and we're just gonna wait it out now. And then they pick Luke McCaffrey, the other guy that I wanted. All right, we're gonna counter this. Like, I want to see what they got. What if for 124? Man, there was a huge run on wide receivers. That's why. That's why all these wide receivers have gone so early. The wide receivers really went early, and because this is a deep draft for wide receivers, and for there to be none left in in like the third or fourth round, I guess we're in the fourth round now. But let's see. Nope, they don't want that. But no, I'm not going all the way down to 150. Just not going to do it. Is that their next pick? Oh, that's their next pick. I can't do it. Can't go all the way down to 150. Sorry. So now we got Dylan Lobb. There's Jalen Wright. He is really good. Kyrie Jackson. That is an interesting prospect as well. You got Jamari Thrash. 5'11", 188. Yeah, he's too mid for me. I'll be honest. But who I am going to pick right here is I'm going to go ahead and get my tight end of the future, which is Theo Johnson. Going to go ahead and get my guy, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think that I'm going to go ahead and get 2 tight ends in this draft because not only because the wide receivers kind of went early, but because let's see, where are we at? We're at one. Like my next pick is at 130. I might as well wait it out now. But not just because of that, but because I think that Cam Latu is a bust. I'll be honest with you. I thought he was a mistake from the beginning, and I'm not sold on Braylon Willis. I'm just not. So don't like that. I'm not moving all that way down, and I think that we are gonna go here. It's a borderline 5th round pick. So I'm gonna go. I know people are tired of seeing running backs, but I will be honest. You got Show Smith Wade sitting here, 5'9". He's just so small. He's just so small. I can't do it. We're in kind of no man's land here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright is 5'10", 210, raw athletic score 981. Athletic beast. Like, let's go Jalen Wright. Let's go Jalen Wright. Let's go Jalen Wright. And now let's look and see what we can get. Our next pick is 176. This is where I'm thinking to start, like, kind of just getting out of. I don't even want to pick in the 200s. So we are going to look and see. What if we trade the Bills? Where are the Bills? What if we trade the Bills 176 for? Ooh, they still got one for it. I'm just trying to get up to 160. And what if we give them 251 and see if that'll get that done? No, that's not going to get it done. So what I'm going to do is Buffalo. I'm going to go 176, 251. Or 215 for 160. Let's see if that gets it done. Nope, they don't want that either. So maybe we got to go a little bit lower. Like we'll go. Let's try the Ravens at 165. I just want to move up a little bit. I don't even care. I don't even care that I just want to have some better options. Ravens, and we're gonna trade 176. We're gonna try 251 for 165 and see if that's good enough to get it done. Nope. One more time. Was it Buffalo? Oh no, it wasn't Buffalo. It was Baltimore. We're gonna try 176, 215 for 165. They took that. Okay. So feel a little bit better. And start it up again. We still got a little bit of ways to wait. I wish I could speed it up a little bit more for you guys right now. I had to slow it down because so that I would have time to make decisions. But as you can see, this draft is going to be the 49ers are going to have to move around. They're going to have to move around to get the guys that they want. And especially the guys that they were talking to in the top 30s, they're going to have to move around. Ooh, Christian Jones. That was a guy I would have taken. Isaac Garendo, my guy. But we got our running back, so Josh Proctor went early. And then here we are at 165. Let's see what we got. We got Curtis Jacobs sitting there. We have Eric All sitting there. Hunter Norzad is still sitting there. At least we know he will be there right around there. At 190, we've got Tip Ryman, another guy that I like. I really like him better than Eric All. When's my next pick? 211? Well, maybe I should have just stayed where I was. But I'm still going to pick somebody. And I am going to go. Here we go. Wait, I passed a guy, didn't I? I'm going to take, I know it's a little early, but I'm going to pick Tip Ryman here. And you will see why. And I am going to move up again. Because like I said, I don't want to be picking in the 200s. My next guy is in 211. I'm going to try and take that jet pick at 185. Jets. And I'm going to, I don't know if this is going to get it done. I don't know if this is going to get it done, you guys. No, that's not going to get it done. But what about 191? Let's try 191 to the Colts. Nope. What about let's try the Bengals again. They've been very complimentary to us. Nope. I might get let's try 202. I think this will get it done. No. For real? Let's try Denver. How can that not move us up just a little bit? I mean, it's still an extra pick. Oh my goodness. People just don't even want this pick. I might be forced to make these picks with 211. What about Detroit? I really just don't. Jeez. This is wild. Let's see, Cleveland. We're gonna try one more time, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and make the picks, I guess. If nobody wants to trade me. Oh, there we go. I just don't want to. I just really didn't want to. All right. So we moved up a couple of spots to finish out the draft. So far, we've got Troy Fatanu, Chris Jenkins, Tanner Bortolini, Theo Johnson, Jalen Wright, Tip Ryman. I think it's a pretty solid draft so far, and whoever we get at 206, I'd be solid with this group. That'd be what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'd be 7 players. I'd be fine with that. I think that the 49ers need people that could step in and possibly contribute, and some guys that could definitely help out special teams, like that kind of stuff. And I think that we got some of those guys. So Red Jet in the building. Appreciate you coming through. Always a pleasure. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure that you hit the subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when I go live, just like Red Jet told you to do. Next week, I'm going to be on with my guy Beto and Brandon again on Du Bois podcast, as well as for right now, draft day. I don't know if he realized it was draft day, but I got a special guest next Thursday, and we're gonna be obviously talking draft. So it is. Make sure that you tune in for that episode. It's gonna be, that should be a very good one, and I'm extremely excited. It'll be the first time I've had this guy on my channel, and but he is very well known in the Niner community, and yeah, just make sure that you tune in. Make sure you tell your friends that you could be anywhere, but you could be here with us, and we're gonna be having a good time. And let's see where we at. Okay. So, who do we got? Brevin Span 4, AJ Barner. Oh, my guy's still here. Sion Baki. We're going to take him. Obviously, the 49ers met up with him. I am going to abide by their wishes, pick him late in the process, and that's going to be our draft class. So just think about this for a minute. It is enough in this draft. If they come away with a Troy Fautanu that is truly right tackle, steps in day one, he's your starter. But there's no competition. There is no competition between him and McKivitz. Like he steps in day one as your starter. Now all of a sudden you have bookend tackles. You have bookend tackles, and now all of a sudden you can run to either side of the line because they've all re-signed. Man, I just blanked on his name, but wow, like how did I blank on his name? Where is he? John Feliciano. You got John Feliciano at right guard. All of a sudden, you've got bookend tackles, and you can run to either side, and that wide zone becomes a strength. Also, you've got somebody that's not just a turnstile every time they hike the ball. It gives Brock Purdy a couple of seconds to throw the ball. So now it gives you all kinds of options. And I don't think people understand how much that would help. That would help this offense. And then you've got a Chris Jenkins who I see as the starter or the future that could be playing with Hargrave for a minute, at least a couple of years. And he may not start right away, but I feel like he could be a very big part of the rotation, and exactly what I think he could be what we thought Kinlaw was going to be. At the very least, he's going to be really good against the run, and which Kinlaw wasn't always the greatest, which is what he was supposed to be great at, and he wasn't the greatest at. John Feliciano goes down. He's a guy that could play guard. He could play guard. You don't have to rely on Spencer Burford. And as well as he's eventually going to be your center of the future. This is Brendel's last year as his contract expires after this year. So you could go with a young Tanner Bortolini, and he could be your center of the future. Yeah. And now you've got Theo Johnson, who I feel steps in. He's better than anything the 49ers got right now. Like 256 pounds. What is he, 6'5"? 6'5", 256 pounds. He's a mauler at the tight end spot. He's athletic. That's a guy and he blocks his behind off. Once again, killer for your run game. And it doesn't have to be Kittle every single time. And then you've got Jalen Wright, who is a home run threat at the running back position, and he's got a little bit of weight on him. 210 pounds. But he's a one-cut-and-go guy. I think that is another guy and he could be an asset in the return game as well too. Don't sleep on him there. Tip Ryman, he could be your actual blocking tight end, another big bodied tight end that they really need. You could really put him in a three tight end. We could have a three tight end set. Not that I've completely given up on Braylon Willis, but I just think that they need to reset and need to understand what they need. They've met with Tip Ryman. They've met with Theo Johnson. They just didn't give him top 30 visits. So don't think that they're off the board. Tanner Bortolini, they met with. Chris Jenkins, they met with. Troy Fautanu, They were at his pro day. Sion Vaki top 30 visit. Like a safety that could be a special teamer at the very least. Like I think this would be an excellent. I would love to have this draft. If I would be stoked if they came away with a draft like this. Now, with all that being said, we all know that that's not the way it's going to go. We all know it. So don't think that oh yeah, like the guys that we want are going to be end up like, oh, why would the 49ers pick this guy? Hey, 49ers got their process. 49ers got their process. They're probably not going to pick the guys that we necessarily want every time. We're going to have a couple of head scratchers. And those guys that we thought should have been picked are going to flourish on another team. It's just the way the ball bounces. But I think that the 49ers could come out of this draft in a very good position if they plan it right. So we're going to let me close that out so you can see my pretty face. And so, yeah, with that being said, this will probably like my next show by myself will be, well, I won't be by myself. I'm going to have a special guest, like I said. And yeah, I think you guys are going to enjoy the show. So make sure that you tune in. Like I said, tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every day, every week. Remember, we are on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, now we are on Twitch. And you can get the audio podcast anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. There's no excuse. I don't care where you get it, just get it. And yeah, like I will see you guys on the flip side. I appreciate everybody coming in the chat. Niner Sickness, Red Jet, appreciate you. 7 days till the draft. Tell them, Red Jet. And oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And thanks to David McNiner coming through. Roberto, appreciate you coming through, fam. And yeah, we're gonna get out of here. But I will see you guys next Tuesday on Beto and Brandon show. Until then, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy it with your families. Enjoy these last few days before we of anxiety before we get to this draft. But as always and forever, go Niners.